those sort of things. The basic things we are done with that. Okay, so that is good for us, and we'll proceed forward that. All right, let me drop a message in the group if someone else is joining, and otherwise we can start. So I will share in the screen in a minute. All right, I have dropped a message in the group if someone else is joining. Otherwise, we can begin. So, hi Pankaj. So basically, we are going to get started with JavaScript today. Okay, and I was saying like if you guys are pending with the assignments, like please do that. Okay, so that there's no issue with the new topics. All right, I guess the screen is visible, and so let's see. The topic is JavaScript. Okay, just a second. So the topic is JavaScript, and so there are some things. There's a documentation I have made. Basically, like mostly it contains the topic and the links which are needed. Okay, so I'll just quickly share this with you, so you can use this as a reference. So whenever you are going to revise things, you can just have a look at this one. So I'll quickly drop this in the chat. Okay. All right. So we know about data types. Okay. So data types are basically whatever data we are going to store. So that type of variable we want to declare. Okay. So we want to give the type basically what is the data we are going to store. So those kind of things. And as a language, so we'll see some of the basic things also. So starting with JavaScript. So why do we need JavaScript? Any answers? Why do we need JavaScript? We already have HTML.
To make our web page more responsive.
All
And it interactive also.
All right, very correct. So, HTML giving a structure to the page. Then comes the formatting part. For example, I want that the participant should appear here as they're coming on the screen, and the content should be something here. So the next part comes as like how does this button work? How does it respond to us? Or I if I want to change the layout of my page, so that I also can do. So to be doing these things, we like generally choose JavaScript, and that is how things work. All right. So starting with the topic JavaScript introduction itself. So it says that scripting language versus programming language. Now, how many of you know what is the difference between a scripting language and a programming language? Okay, so okay, two things are there. So talking about the errors first, whenever you are writing a DSA code, okay, so there are two types of error you must be getting. So one is a syntax error, and some errors were coming when the program was actually running. For example, if you miss a semicolon or something in your Java code, so it will say that there is a syntax error. But some of the errors like time limit exceed, they do not happen if the syntax is wrong. They happen when your code is actually running. Are you guys getting the point? Okay. So, what is the difference between these two moments? When your code syntax is checked and when your code is actually running. So, there is a difference between these two phases. So, when your syntax is checked, what we call that phase? How many of you know about compilation?
Yes.
Okay. So, what is compilation?
So before like converting our code into executable.
Correct. Okay, so you write code in English like for, while, so these are English words, and like these get converted to machine code. So compilation is going on, so syntax checking and all those things happen in compilation, whereas the errors like stack overflow due to, let's say, you missed a base case in recursion, or time limit exceed, so these errors are known at when your program is actually running. So that phase is called as runtime. Okay, so there is compile time and runtime in case of programming languages. Okay,
So
where
I actually I didn't get actually miss.
Okay.
Can you explain again?
So we are starting with JavaScript. Now the first topic is a scripting language versus programming language. So programming language Java, we are already done with that. So in that we had two phases: compile time and runtime, right? So compilation is basically machine readable code, like converting your English code to machine readable code, and the second phase was the program is actually running. So these things does not happen in case of a scripting language such as JavaScript. So basically there is only interpretation part. So there is no compilation going on. Okay, I'll just run two commands now, and I want to show you something. So to run JavaScript code, you can simply open this in your browser. Okay, just you can ignore this message. Okay, so you can say right click. Okay, go to inspect, and once you come to inspect, go to console. So you can do it right now. Okay, now all browsers, all modern browsers support JavaScript language, so you can run your code inside the console itself. Okay, no issues. So here's the first thing, guys. To print something on the console, you just have to use console.log. Log, as the name suggests, logging. So you are logging basically. So basically you are logging something on the console. So you can say that logging sample data. So something like this. Okay. So this is how it works. So the first thing, first command we are running in case of JavaScript. So you can see that we have logged a sample data. Okay. And there is something called as undefined coming in over here. So one is, so this is our command which we ran. This is printed, just similar to system.out.println, and we are getting undefined. This undefined is coming because the method return type of .log is undefined. So that is why we are getting undefined. So we'll talk about this also. So this is how a sample code runs in. So this is a sample code of JavaScript, and where do you want to run? So you already have a compiler, nothing to install, no Eclipse, and nothing. Just open your browser and start typing the code. That's it. So this is one command. Now, so there is only a runtime over here. Okay? So there is only interpretation. There is no compilation or syntax checking. It means that you can have the semicolon or you cannot. You cannot have the semicolon. Both things are fine over here. All right. Coming to the second point over here. So we'll talk about data types first. Okay. So if you guys have already known something about JavaScript, so can someone tell what are the data types here? Possible data types.
JavaScript is basically loosely typed language or dynamic.
All
So
right.
we don't need to mention a data like int or string. But we can use to define a where, let, a const to define a variable.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. See.
And
All
the
right.
data types
Mm-hmm.
are like number
Mm-hmm.
and object,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
and there is boolean as well,
Yes. Yes.
string.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Symbol also,
Yes. Symbol is also
or
there.
undefined,
Undefined is there. Okay.
null.
Null is there. Correct. Correct. All
Or
right. So yeah, I guess all things are covered. Thank you. Thank you, guys. So there are seven of them. So we just covered. So apart from object and symbols, so these object and symbols will study later. Coming back to all the five other ones, string, boolean, number, null, and undefined. Okay. So just I will quickly write all these things. And how do we declare variables? So there are three ways to declare variable. Okay, so we'll just choose the older one and we'll discuss why we have three ways to declare the variables. Older days, var was used to declare the variable. So let's say that var variable one is equals to 34 or something. Okay, so just an arbitrary value. So this is how you store a data. Just notice one thing. So Pankaj mentioned a word loosely type and so what was the other thing? The
dynamic
da-
language.
okay, so dynamically type and static type, right? I guess. So sorry, it's strictly type it's there. So I will share the sheet with of differences with you. You can just find the terms. So you do not need to specify that where one is going to be a number over here. I want to show you the other thing. Why do I not need to specify and why it is a loosely typed language? So where one was just a number before, okay, but in the second line you can mark it as a true, and that is totally acceptable over here. You can see that this was a number over here, and now it is a boolean. It is holding a boolean. So these things are totally possible over here. So where is the keyword which you will use to declare a variable, and you can store any data type you want. All right, so this is one way to do it. Talk about the data type first, then we'll move to where let const. Why do we have three ways? Okay, so that is the later part. The first part is where. So there's an operator, we say type of. Okay, so I can say type of, and I can just give the thing over here, and it will throw me the data type basically. What is the current data type? So you can see that it is saying that it is a boolean. Next point, so number is there, boolean is there. So how do we deal with the string? So two ways. Either you can use single quotation. You can write something like, let's say, car. This is also fine. Or you can use double quotation and you can write car. So that is also, this also works. Okay. Even we have something as backticks. The key will below escape key. That is also totally fine. This will also work. All right. Don't worry about this. So there is a network call going to this URL. We'll discuss about network calls, how to perform a network request. Okay, but let's leave it for now. So string is done, number is done, boolean is done. Okay, so the other two, whenever you leave a variable or you do not give any value to this, so what do you think where to is holding?
Undefined.
All right. So where to is holding undefined in itself. This is also considered as a data type. Okay, so nil is there in Java also, and Java also is it's there, in C++ also it is there. So we have null, I guess, in C++, and something like that is also possible in Java. Okay, so here it is undefined, means we do not supply something. Okay, there's something which is null also. So you can say this as null. Now here comes the question. So what is the difference between null and undefined? No, yeah.
We have assigned a value to
Mm-hmm.
the where,
Okay.
but it does not have some name or something, its value. We
Okay.
just set a space for where to us, I think.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So the difference is when we do not have something, so we can say that market value null. So null I have to give explicitly. Okay. So I assign null, but undefined is the default value. Make sense? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So these are the five types. Just quickly running type off on all of them. Okay. So that we can proceed. So where to? Okay. Now, where to is a null. It's throwing an object. We'll discuss. This is a bug in the language. Okay, itself. So this is a bug, guys. Okay. So type of null is thrown as an object. Okay. Don't worry, it's a bug. So you can just. We'll discuss about bugs also today in the language itself. Okay. Type of undefined will anyways be giving undefined. And all right, two things are there. So is type of a function, or what do you think? What is type of?
I think keyword.
Yeah, obviously it's a keyword, but like, is it a function or something else? It is
That's
a
the function, I think.
it is a operator. Okay, so we call these things as operator.
Sir,
Yeah.
actually,
Mm-hmm.
hello, am I audible?
Yeah, yeah, audible.
Sir, null is type of object only.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, correct.
I've read that it is like base class of null is object.
So base class of null is object. Yes, yes, yes. Base class is yes. So what are base classes? Okay, we'll discuss that part also. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. So these are the five types we are having, guys. Okay. So I hope so these things are clear. Now, since we didn't study about object, but we already saw it. Okay. So just for completion purpose, I will create an object with you. So see this, guys. So where obj. Okay. So I can say where obj. How do we create objects here?
With curly braces or new object
All right.
constructors.
All right. So two things. So as Pankaj said, either you go with this curly braces. So when I say curly braces, so I'm definitely referring to the object over here. Okay. So so this syntax means that create a new object and assign to it. Two questions arising here. For an object, till now we need classes. Okay. But where is the class? I'm directly creating an object. How is this possible? So to create an object, a class is needed. Make sense, guys? Are you guys getting my point?
Yes.
Okay, so till now, object-oriented programming language, if there is a class, then only you will say, na, ki, let's say obj equals to new obj where the constructor is called. But something is not happening here. So we'll talk about that also. The second possible way is I can say obj1 is equals to, I can say new object. Okay, so there is already an object constructor. Okay, so there is a already inbuilt constructor inside javascript. Okay, so which will help you with this creation of object. Okay, so there's an already object constructor inbuilt. Okay, and it will do the same thing. So you can see this is a curly braces and this is also a curly braces. Okay, so I hope this both this syntax or this syntax refer to the same thing. One thing is to note here, I didn't specify where. Do you guys notice this?
Yes.
Is still no error over here. So whenever you leave it, okay, so whenever you leave, you do not specify something over here, so it is automatically taken as a where. Make sense? Okay,
Yes.
so this is how it so these are the data types we are having and type of things we did. Now, moving forward, so okay, just a quick thing, a note on scripting language versus programming language. Let me find a link. So we had something in this itself. So scripting language versus programming language. Okay, so we have a CN blog over it. Let me open that. So you can see that this is written by our team itself. So so they basically say the first point: what is programming language? What is a scripting language? So scripting language requires any other language to run. For example, our JavaScript requires HTML or CSS, so it should come with HTML, CSS, and then it will run. Otherwise, you already know about Java, so we do not need to do anything with that. Thus, says that programming language code when compiled creates a binary executable and .exe. So we do not have a .exe. So this was already mentioned, I guess, in the session. So all right. So for development, codes are easier and quite only a few short times. So you can just see that we are quickly started with. One thing to note here is we again in C++ or Java. So just observe this, guys. When you go to Java, you say import something something, then you write your class, then you write your public static void main, and then you start the coding. So there's a class, then function, then the code. Whereas in C++, you can just say include headers. You can write function int main, and you can just write your code, and that's it. So there's a function and class in Java and C++. Whereas you just directly writing everything inside the console itself in JavaScript. No class is needed, no function needed. So no extra setup is there. So you can see that how easy your functional based programming language is JavaScript. Okay, so you will have a good time with JavaScript. You don't need to have like you won't struggle much. Don't worry. So conversion and hosting. So how does this work? So on the other hand, it demand line by line conversion and require a host. Okay, uses a compiler in one shot conversion. So compilation and runtime. So this is what I was talking about. So it uses a compiler. So what is a compiler? So what do you mean by compiler?
I think it compiles the whole code
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Okay.
and
So
an interpreter
mhm.
interprets a line by single line by line.
Okay. So makes sense. So complete code is compiled to an executable format or machine readable language. Okay. Whereas scripting language are read line by line. So if first line is working, second line is not working, everything will still run. I will just show you something, guys. Okay. So since we read the syntax, see this. I will write the first line correct and second line I will make a syntax mistake. See this. So console log, I will say that log data. Okay. So why compilation? अगर compilation होगा, so it means it will find the error and the complete program will not run. But this is not will happen. This is not something will happen. See this. So I will write the first line correct, but the second line I want to say var1 dot var1 is equals to 90. So this is not a good syntax. You already know this is var1 is not a keyword. So this should throw an error. But see, okay, what did happen? Just a second. All right, I guess this is something logged. Okay, I need to create a HTML file to show you this. So just wait for a couple of more minutes. We'll come back to this.
Actually, where one is equal to 90 is syntax issue.
Yes. I'm doing intentionally so that I can show that compilation is not going on. Okay, let me just talk to more things, and then we'll paste this in HTML file. Okay. All right. So these are the things, guys. Okay, so just go through the article and get some insights on it. Coming back to the third point, where let const. Okay, so where we already saw how do we use where. Okay, the second one is basically how are we going to use let and const. Now, all right, see this. So where one more thing before we move to the let and const. So where 3 is equals to 90. Okay, this is completely fine, and I can see where 3 is equals to 90. Again, I can say where 3 is equals to 89. Okay, so it should if I do the same thing in other languages, will it work or it will throw error?
Throw error.
Okay, so this is not the case over here. Where allows a reinitialization of the variable, so that is totally possible and without error. One thing. Next is the let part. Okay, so let's quickly cover this. So let I will say where 5 is equals to, let's say, 78, and every rule is the same. You do not need to give data type. Let const var. Just write the keyword, name of the variable, and the value. That's it. Okay. So where 5 is equals to 78. Now let me do the same thing. Okay. Just like I did for where. Can I reinitialize it? What do you guys think?
No, no.
All right, let's have a quick thing. Okay, Pankaj is correct. It will not work. It is working before because this console is allowing this thing to happen. Okay, we'll check this one, but this thing is not allowed. Okay, don't worry. We'll just check it. You are correct. It will not work. It will throw error. But okay, we'll get into HTML file and we'll check this again. But the point is, this can be also changed. Things working correctly. So this reinitialization is not possible. It is working due to some browsers. You can say what you can say, forgiveness kind of thing. Okay, yeah, that is true. What I'm saying. Okay, so browser is forgiving for the mistake. Okay, coming back to the point. So let const, sorry, let where. Now it comes to the point const. So why do we use const? Any cases? Serious.
I think a variable means after initializing we don't need to assign a variable. So for that we use const.
Okay, makes sense. And the same statement defines this also. Assignment to constant variable is not allowed. Okay, so that is what we mean by const. So const says that once you have given the value, you cannot change it now. Okay, that is not possible. Now this is something, the difference between let const and where. So we'll discuss about more differences related to scope. Okay, we'll talk about the scope in some time and we'll discuss about that also. Coming back to the point, Chrome DevTools. So we just saw this Chrome DevTools. So this is going to help you guys for debugging. So you see this terminal over here, and you are able to write all the codes inside it, and it is going to help you in catching errors also. So you can see that you are getting errors. So how to open it? Right click anywhere, go to inspect. Okay, choose console tab, and start writing the JavaScript code. There's the clear button over here. Okay, so if you want to hide any warning or messages, click on default levels. You can choose You can just uncheck error if you do not want to see error warnings info. Verbose means you want to more logging, or by default is the default level. Okay, so this is totally possible. Something more features. So you can click on this gear icon and you can choose preserve log. So what will happen with preserve log? Even if you just refresh or change your page, logs will be still present. Okay, so it will preserve the log. So you can just check it. I guess if you haven't already opened, so this would be unchecked in your case. So please check your browsers inspect. Okay, and check it so that it does not go away. Rest all the things are good for now. We'll just when we move forward with our lectures, we'll discuss about things more and more. Coming back to the point, type coercions, okay, or type conversions. So there is something happening with the type conversions or the check. Okay, let me show you something. So, what do you guys think? Two and two, are this equal or not?
Different.
Like obviously it's different. Okay, so if you just talk about the even the data type and the syntax, it's totally different. But see this, guys. I want to show you something. So see this. Okay, I know it's firstly it's hard to digest. How is this possible? Okay, how can a string be equal to a number? So that is the point. Implicitly, type conversion is happening. Implicitly means we do not need to do it. Okay, so language does it itself. So implicitly, type conversion is happening over here. Means both are converted to same data type and then checked. So that is why it is giving true. Okay, will solve this issue. JavaScript has other way to solve the issue. Similarly, I can say 0 is 0 equal to true. Or let's say 0 equals to false or something. See this. I know what you guys are thinking, but yes, this is something like the behavior of JavaScript which we are seeing in over here. Okay, and this is equals to 0. See, we'll see with the rules. Okay, not to confuse ourselves. There are some similar set of rules you guys will see for help. Okay, all right, we'll talk about this one later. But yeah, so is this equals to this one also? So these are the things happening over here. So type conversion is happening. Type conversion means it implicitly tries to make this equal to the data type. So it is converted to a string, 0 is converted to boolean, this is converted to boolean, this is also converted to boolean. So everything is like forced to be converted, okay? And that is why they are matching and throwing true. Now, to avoid this, we can just simply say triple equal to avoid the conversion. So you can put a triple equal to, and this will like solve all the problems, comparisons, and all the things in over here. Okay, so you can just do put a third equals to in over here. Same is case with the inequality also. So you can put an inequality check, and let me show you something. So you can say two. Uh, is it not equals to? So is it not equals to 2? So it is saying false, but it should be true, right? 2 is not equals to a string. So again, we have to increase the equal to, and this will do the job. This is called as three equal to's are called as strict equality and strict inequality. Okay, and these are the normal equality and inequality. So we call it as strict equality and strict inequality. This is there in JavaScript, and this happened because of some language compatibility. So earlier days JavaScript was very forgiving. It forgave the mistakes of the developer, but later it started causing issues. So they came up with a patchy solution. Patchy solution means not a something concrete solution. Okay, so they came up with something like this, and this is what we see now. All right, guys. Is this clear, guys? Should we move forward? Any doubts? All right. Thank you. Let's proceed. Now, so here is a link for you guys. I hope I have say. Okay, let me share this again for the guys who joined later. Maybe pasted it in over here. All right. Find this document. Okay. The point. The point is, there's a link, type conversion, and this will open a website. Okay, so I love this website. Like everything is over here. You have all the things related to JavaScript. Just the problem is to retain it. So have a quick revision on the weekends or maybe like twice or thrice a month. So you will just be okay with the JavaScript. Coming back to the point, string conversion. So string conversion happens. So some of the functions. Okay, so what is alert? See this. How many of you know about alert? All right, see this. So this is a sample. So have someone seen something like this message kind of thing? Uh, I hope.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, so we have, yeah. All right, thank you. So this alert comes when the website it asks for you for login or for reloading. So these kind of things. So you can just simply say alert. This alert is a top level function predefined inside JavaScript. Pass your string, pass your message, and we are good. It says that whenever you have alert, okay, so it tries to convert everything to a string, okay. So if you pass any boolean into this, so for now we just pass the string, so that is fine. But what if I say that instead of this one, so this expects a string. What does happen if I pass to? So it's a boolean. Let's see. So it is type converted into something like which is a string. Okay. So this is automatically happens. So some of the functions will implicitly do it. Okay. Now the value is a string true. So this is what it is saying. All right. What's next? Static conversion are mostly obvious. A false become false, null becomes null, and true becomes true. So something this happens. Numeric conversions. So this is something very interesting. Okay, it says that like dividing two strings will fetch you the number. Okay, let's see this part. This is interesting to discuss. All right. Tell me the answer, guys. 6 minus. It's already showing the answer. This is bad. Okay, let me write somewhere else. Or let me put a comment before this. Okay. So what do you guys think? What should be the answer?
2.
Alright, so it should be throwing a 2. Okay, tell me this. So 6 multiplied and 7. What should be the answer?
42.
Alright. Now what should be the answer?
67.
Okay, and why is it not 13? Correct, it's 67. So why is it so in case of a string, so when in case of addition we are doing between two string, it is throwing me a string itself 67. But the same thing if I just switch back to the multiplication part, so you get the numbers. So here is an exception for you guys. Whenever you try to do something like this, plus will operate as a it will work as a concatenation of two strings. Okay, whereas other mathematical operator will work totally fine. Make sense, guys?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, how to put power? So, power means 7 power 2, or power means exponent. So, basically, so how to put a power? So, two multiplication sign, and you can put a power in JavaScript. Okay. So, it's not like the caps, the upper cap key. Okay. So, that is for XOR operation. Well, you can check that later. So, double multiply means 7 into 7. All right. Next conversions are, so numeric conversions happen in mathematical functions and expression automatically, means explicitly. Language does that itself. This is okay. So this is explicit conversion. When you force convert anything, you call it, what do you call it?
Hacker.
Explicit, right? Okay. So you force convert, you say explicit, and when it gets converted automatically it is called as
Implicit.
yes. Okay. So here's the thing. So number wrapper is already there. Okay. So you can just try to use this number wrapper, and string 123 is converted to number 123. Check it out. This is very basic things. I have already shared the link of the doc and this log. This is already there. Okay. One more thing. NaN. So this is something we need to discuss. So suppose that let var 6, okay, is equals to, there is a 1 2 3, so this is not a valid number. Okay, so var 6 is already defined. You can just remove this part. Where okay, this is also good. So let's say var 7 makes sense. Now if I go to convert it to a number, it is not a good number. Obviously it's since we have a inside it, if it would have only 1 2 1 2 3, so it should throw 123, but it is showing something as NN. What is NN?
Not a number.
Correct. So it's just an interpretation that whatever I tried to do is not valid. Okay, because it's something which is cannot be converted. All right. Here's the key. So exception you need to. So what is type of NN? See. So type of NN is a number. But how is this possible? NN still says that it's not a number, the name says, but the type of NN is a number. So here comes the again another bug inside the language. Alright, I hope you guys are getting the point. Alright guys, so this is what we had as numeric conversion and string conversion. Makes sense. Boolean conversion, very easy. So these things we already know. So 0 is considered as a Boolean, null is considered as a Boolean, undefined is considered as a Boolean, NN is considered as a Boolean. I hope this is very easy to learn. In other languages also, these things are there. Okay, so those are considered as false.
Is undefined is equal to false? False?
Undefined
Here
equals
is
to
equal to false.
yeah. So it's these are called as falsy values. Okay, so these are not false. These are called as falsy values. For example, undefined, okay, I will say true value and false value. Are you guys getting the point?
Yes.
Okay, so these are called as falsy values or truthy values. Okay, so similar with null over here, and same with, what do you think with zero? Okay, so it's again the false, right? And the rest of them will be throwing true. Similarly, what for empty string?
Same false value.
Yes. Okay. So do not. We shouldn't be doing this mistake. So zero inside this is not a false value. It is a true value. So it will be throwing true. So empty things, null and defined or any empty thing, zero will be this or nan. So these all will be false. Everything apart from that will be throwing a true. So either you check something like this or you put a conditional operator. It's the same thing. Okay. So ternary operators we used just. All right. Okay. So I'll close this one. We are done with that. So this is how type conversion work. For arithmetic, we saw like the addition operation is there, the multiplication, division is there. So these all are possible. How to put power on a number, that is also we saw. This brings us to the next thing. Okay, short circuiting. How many of you know about short circuiting? Okay, see this guys. So let val is equals to, so there's something I'm saying as a value. So let val is equals to okay, false. Okay, and then console.log something like this. Okay, see this. So it is saying that assigned to well. Now false and or. Okay, now let's do the same thing with true. So what do you guys think, what will happen with true?
I think it will return true.
Just a second, guys. What are these things coming? So it should. Okay, so Bharat is saying it should do nothing. Makes sense. So why did it happen? Since it's or operations, first condition is true. Next will not be checked. Make sense?
Check here.
Okay. And similarly, what will happen with this one?
Nothing.
Okay.
False.
Correct. Very correct. So this is what we call as a short circuit. Short circuit means code will never reach this point. Okay. So this is what it happens. Okay. Makes sense. Moving on. So we saw that this is perfectly normal for us to write codes outside the class, outside the function in JavaScript. That is totally good. Next thing is, but to have reusability in our components and to reuse the same piece of code, we should be learning about functions also. So now let's see how we are going to deal with functions. So for moving with functions, okay, should I create a HTML file or let it be? Okay, let's use the console for now. That is a good part, right? You just quickly write everything in over here in the console and test it out. So once you are sure that your code is working, you can just type that in the file. Otherwise, you are good to go. All right. How do you define a function? Function. Let's say add one. Okay. This is the syntax. So how to write multi-line? You can just do shift enter. Okay, and it will work perfectly fine. Okay. Do shift enter and it will be good. So function add one, and this is the function we have. Now, basically, the code can still be in over here. That is perfectly normal. Okay. So inside a function, all right, and we can call it anywhere, anytime we want. So this is something we have already. This is perfectly normal, similar to other languages. One thing is missing in over here. We do not give any. So okay, tell me guys, what do you guys see? What's different between Java function and this function? Do you guys see any?
Type.
Correct, very correct. So no return type is provided to the function. So it does not matter what is the return type. So add one can return undefined, null, boolean, string. It doesn't matter. When we will get to know this, what it is returning. So we'll get to know add.
Need to return.
So whenever the function is running, that time we know that it has returned something. Before that, we do not know that something is returned. So when you do directly the return, so you can see this is not printing undefined anymore. Console is running perfectly fine, but the return is also a string. So at runtime when the function is running, it is identified that this function is going to return a string. So type of return type of this function is a string, which is dynamic. So it can return anything at any point. You can put if else, and it can return a string, number, boolean, and lots of return can be there. Not need to stick to a single return. Is my statement clear, guys? Like,
Yes.
okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. So this is one thing. Next, with same with the parameters. Same thing follows with the parameters. Nothing you need to write in over here int or something. Just do a comma b as you do with the um, parameters, but without any data type. You just print a, print b. That is perfectly normal. Okay. Not need to supply in something. So add one. You can say let's say 3 comma 5, and you can see that you receive the values 3 comma 5. Since they do not have any value, so you can supply anything else. So you can supply this as a string, so that is perfectly possible. Okay, so number or string, so data types are not. So two things: params do not have any data type, and the function do not have a return type. So no return type, no parameter type. Third one, missing parameter. All right. One more thing to see over here. Similar to where I can redeclare again and again the same value. If you see, the function is also doing the same thing. It is not throwing me error. I'm writing the same function with the same name again and again. It is not throwing me error. Okay. So this is perfectly possible inside JavaScript. Brings us to the third thing. What if I do not supply the argument? What do you guys think? Will it work through error or what should be?
It will work.
Value of A and B, what will be printed?
A is equal to 3 and B is equal to undefined.
All right, totally makes sense. Okay, so this is something what we have. Now, I hope you guys have guessed this one. The point is, so these are the three things, and this is how the function works. Adding something to this undefined part. Do you guys know about default param value?
Yes.
Okay, how do we do that one?
At the time of function creation, we can assign a value to the parameters.
All right. Okay. Let's see this guys. What just Pankaj mentioned. So at the time of creation, I can say b is equals to 5, and that is perfectly possible. And let's see this. So this is good. Now when I say add 1, and if I call this one, okay. So if you see, there is a suggestion for me that A is there and a question mark B. So what do we mean by question mark? That is optional. Okay, so this question mark means optional. Why optional? So if I supply 2 3, so what should be the value of A and B?
2 and 3.
All right, and what if I supply 2?
2 and 3.
Okay, makes sense. So whatever be the default value was there, that is totally possible in over here. But here's a catch, guys. You cannot keep the first argument as optional. Okay, so because how would you supply the second one? So that is one thing you need to take care of. Okay, so if you make the first one as optional, how will it work? Because you have to put something and give comma. Okay, so just avoid that one. Rest I guess is good. So this is one thing. All right, now the functions we had, and these are the three things. Talking about hosting. All right, let's go to the page now. Okay, it's time we create a HTML file. So this is a backend code. Okay, let me open the document. Okay, I will mark this folder as JavaScript. Let me open exactly this one. So let's type the file name as functions.html, and let's write the code in there. So why HTML? So that we can run our code. Okay. So in order to, we just need the script tag in over here to write the script, and that is it. All right. Now hosting. How many? Okay. So what is hosting? See this. So where one is equals to 90. Okay. So there is a variable. I want to read this value, something over here. Same thing I want to do in over here. Okay. All right. So I can see something in over here. The first line, which is line number 13, is throwing me a undefined, and line number 17 is giving me a 90. But what if This is Java or C++. Will this work or throw error in those cases? Can I use a variable before initializing it?
No.
Okay, obviously we cannot use it, so that's an obvious answer. But we are getting undefined in over here. So something which is very very different in case of this one. Similar, the other thing. So let where to, okay, 89. So I want to show you guys something, which is, let me print where to also, okay, and let's see this. So where to? What do you guys think? Will it work? Okay, let's figure it out. Sorry, let's clear
No,
this.
no. Can you explain execution context and how the Java works behind the scene? So that will help me to understand the undefined concept.
All right, let's do
Okay.
that also. Okay, see this. So where to cannot access where to before initialization. So I can access where one before initialization. Okay, it's so throwing me undefined. Whereas where to is throwing me an error that it cannot be used before initialization. Okay, so we cannot use let variable before initialization. But the point, guys, I want to show you, like I want you guys to notice something. Does JavaScript already know that where to is used before initialization? This line says that only, no? That JavaScript knows that where to is used before initialization, right? Okay. Why I'm asking this question? So you are at line number 14, and I'm saying that JavaScript code run line by line. So if it runs line by line, how does it know that line number 18 is where to? Are you guys getting my question? If my
Yes.
Okay, so if my code didn't reach this line number 18, so how does it know that where to is already there?
I think JavaScript scan first the whole page,
Okay.
uh, and then it assign the value to the variable at the time undefined,
Okay.
and also assign a variable, and also assign a function. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I think it is a execution context which help.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. So that is really a close answer. So basically, there are two parsing for the complete file. Two times these code are read. Okay. Line by line, two times it's read. So the first time we are reading through the values and the functions, whatever it is contained in over here. Okay. And that is how it works. So the first reading, it will take all the values of the variables and put it at the top. So where one, where two will be available at the top of my scope. Okay. So okay, since the scope term is coming, so scope means where is my code written. Okay, so that is called as scope. So this scope is basically the, what do you call this scope as?
Global scope.
Yes, global scope. So we have local scope and function scope in other languages. So function we didn't see. So function scope is not the answer. Local scope, no, we do not have something for loop or something. So local scope doesn't make sense. So the only thing is the global scope, and yes, that is the correct answer. So this is written in the global scope. Now all my values, all my variables inside my function gets at the top of my script before the code runs. So in first parsing, hoisting is done. So this is only called as hoisting. So taking all the variables up and giving them values. So where all the variables are defined, so assigned with undefined, and all other values like let, const are given uninitialized. So they are not set undefined. They are set uninitialized in the first parsing. That is why where one is throwing undefined and this is throwing an error. Okay, everything is hosted. So there is a, so never, so there's a word that only where is hosted. No, everything is hosted. Everything other than where is marked as uninitialized. Okay, so that is why you cannot access it. Hosting happens with everyone.
One more question regarding the hosting is the variables follow order while hosting?
So this is question for object. So we'll study about object. It depends on the insertion order. So I guess if insertion order is managed, then yes, they will follow the order they are added to the object. But that is an internal object. So we cannot like exactly see what's happening inside. Okay? But yeah,
Okay.
insertion order is maintained. Okay? All right. Will it come to a point we know that everything inside JavaScript is mostly related to objects. Okay, so that is where we will land sometime, but before that, so this is how hosting is working. Similarly, I will comment this code so that I can show you something. This is variable hosting, so this is possible with all types of variables. So let const var, so everything is possible. The comes Here comes the function, so function one. Okay, and I say that, so function one console.log the functions block. Okay. All right. What do you guys think? Can I call it upwards? Will it work or should
Yes,
I?
yes.
Okay. So will this work or some this time or undefined?
I think it will print console.
Okay. Let's check this part out. So this time it is totally working normal. Okay, so it is printing the console. Now print console is happening. Okay, so that is totally fine in over here. Now since, okay, here is the point. Why did we are getting undefined like hosting where and this function is working? Because function total function definition goes while hosting at the top, so complete function code goes up, not just the name, it goes with all the body. So that is why function one is possible over here. Okay, when in case of where, so this where one is going above, this value does not go, so that is why it does not work. Make sense?
Yes.
All right. So we'll discuss about more about hosting. Okay. Okay. Overloading. All right. Let me try this. I had something on this one. So this is not quite popular with JavaScript, but maybe we can give a try. So I'm not sure will this will work or not. Just a quick check, guys. Overloading means, so having the same name with different.
Different parameters.
Yes. Okay, but here the param types won't make sense because parameter don't have type in JavaScript. So that is my concern. But let me see. So you can see that the second one is not working. Okay, so that is something sad. Okay, not sad. We'll take this one out. Okay, all right. So okay, so these things are possible. What else do we have? So function and scope. All right. So before we move to function and scope, two more things to see, guys. So, okay, let's start with the scope also. So if we are just talking about the scope, so function is there. A scope. This is global scope we have. The second scope is where. Okay, so where one is equals to. Okay, let's say okay, some values. Now, what will the value here? So where one.
Car.
Okay, let me switch this code off. And function one is calling this, and var one is should be printing the car. So let's see this. So okay, so we see that car is being printed. Now if I comment this one, so what should be the value of var one?
90, I think.
Okay, let's see this also. So it is correct. You are correct. Very correct. So that should be 90. But since it is called before this one, so it is throwing a undefined. Okay, because of hosting thing. Okay, so you're correct. Okay. All right. So this is what it happens. So firstly, checking its own scope. If it finds the variable there, good. If it does not find its variable there, it will check the upper scope. Okay, so check your own scope, the function scope, and if it is not found, check the outer scope. So outer scope here is the, what is this scope is? Global, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so global scope is there, and the second one is the function scope. So two scope we got to know now. One more scope is there. Okay, we call that as a block scope. Okay, so let's just quickly see that, and we are done for the day. Okay, so we can create function blocks, something like this. Okay, so I hope you guys have seen this code. Obviously you have seen this. So let where 7 is equals to if, and okay, so and finally the where val 1. All right, so these are the three things we are having. Okay, putting a console in over here. Where 7 is the first one. Copy, paste, paste. Okay, so where 7, where 8, okay, and val 1. So three things are there. Okay, so three things are there. Let me put at this at the top and tell me what should be printed. Okay, so what should be printed in val 1?
Oh, well,
Okay, what for where 7?
it will throw error.
And I guess then this will also never get executed.
Also error. Yeah.
All right. So this is how it works. Okay. So we'll see. So we are talking about a block scope. Okay. So this is the third type of scope. We call it a block level scope. See this. And have you guys seen same type of index in for loop, while loop? Okay. And the values inside for loop is not accessible outside. You guys know this also, right? You guys know this, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is the key, guys. So basically, it says that so these variables are neither in global scope nor in function scope. They are in the block level scope. So this is what we are having. Okay, so make sense? I guess this is making sense. Okay, we'll start with the functions and scope execution thing in the coming class. All right, where's the sheet? Where's the sheet? Hmm, okay. Okay, we had an actual sheet, right? Sorry. So we didn't had the last session, so probably it's good. So today is 70. Okay, let me share it. So please mark attendance. We so there are 8 people over here. All right. Okay. So this is what we had, guys, in JavaScript. Basically, so we had a start now, and we'll check. So let me get a screenshot so that if attendance is, I will mark it. Thank you so much, guys. Let's meet in the
So,
next week.
So can we call you for a minute? Need
Uh,
to discuss some personal. Only for 1 minute.
okay, okay, okay. All right, all right. Okay. Thank you so much, guys.
Okay.